Good afternoon, or actually good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate you being here today to talk a little bit about openness and transparency in our city government. I am standing here in front of Metro Hall, the seat of government for our city, and I come a couple days after it was reported in the Courier-Journal about a state audit and findings with the way things have been handled and accounted for in our city government. So that is simply a stepping stone to be with you today, a marker because people are thinking about it now and they are seeing it. And so I thought it was appropriate to talk with you and others following this campaign for mayor, because this is a critical time for our community. It is a time where we need everyone in the city stepping up and doing their part to contribute and help solve the problems that face our community. But if citizens feel that they don't understand how their tax dollars are spent, that they don't understand how community decisions are made, then they have a hard time being engaged in the process positively. And so, if you look, you can understand that citizens in this community would feel that way. Obviously, they have questions, and it's highlighted in this audit that the state has come in and done, whether or not our city tax dollars are being accounted for properly and spent wisely. But I think it's also a time to look at what I believe are bigger issues of city accountability and city decision making. And they go to the very heart of how and who is involved in community decision making. And so if we look around, citizens look up and they see they have questions about how tax dollars are spent. They see that we as a community have signed a contract with a developer in which we have a contract that doesn't even allow us to see how the dollars are spent, dollars that are going to major projects perhaps in our downtown. You see that we have dollars directed from our baseball stadium to fund a downtown development agency without approval of Metro Council. You have an unelected commission choosing an arena site that cost more than $100 million more, and people don't seem to feel like they have control over it or have any say in the matter. And today, we actually have the granddaddy of them all, an unelected tolling authority that was lobbied for by our city mayor and rubber stamped by our Metro Council, that has been given the authority to perhaps pass the largest tax increase in the history of this community. And the citizens were not a part of that decision, and the citizens will not be in a position to be engaged and have some control of that outcome. And that is incredibly frustrating. And so while we can see all the details of this audit, and I believe that it is important that we get a handle on the management of the way our city is conducted, but there are bigger issues at stake on how this community makes decisions. And so I stand before you today to say that in my administration, that is not the way things, how things will be. I believe that the mayor needs to step up and take a leadership role in these so that the mayor can be held accountable by the people for the direction and the decisions that we make. We will not be led by unelected authorities designed to shield elected officials. We will be led by elected officials, namely the mayor, who will step up, cast a vision for the community, and work for consensus to bring that about. I think that is incredibly important. And so that is why I wanted to step before you today and open up for some questions about that. So that's the end of my statement. So if anybody has questions, please have at it.
Have you seen the audit yet?
No, I've only seen what has been reported. And that is why this press conference is not focused on that audit. I see the incongruity. I just felt because it was top of mind in the community that it was an occasion to talk about the bigger issues of transparency. And so I'm not critiquing individual items that were in that audit.
Tyler, one of the things that came from, I guess, the larger conversation about transparency is this issue with the two veteran employees resigning. Mm-hmm. But what ideas for transparency and open up Metro government more to help people more accountable do you have? Well,
I think clearly we have rules in place with what is allowable for city employees, what the expectations are of city employees. I think we have a lot of stuff in place as it is. I know Metro Council has been wrestling with ethics ordinance for city government, and I think that in this race it's incredibly important. I'm in the Democratic Party, for my party to take that very seriously, because I do believe that come fall, that will be an area where the citizens of the community are concerned and believe that elected officials need to take the responsibility of not only elected but appointed government officials, and their ethics and their conduct are incredibly important. So we will be going into a new administration with a lot of new people. We will be able to establish the ground rules going in, and we just have had this, the same administration for a very, very long time.
Piggybacking on that point, one of the things that Critton Wellen points out in the full audit, 212-page audit, is that there's a lack of mandatory training for business managers.
Yep.
That you substitute work experience for other qualifications.
Yep.
Are you saying in your administration you would make it mandatory for all business managers to have proper training?
Proper training on, particularly in this case, we're talking about with regarding to ethics and expectations of their job. I believe there's no question that we need to be doing that, and because some of the stuff we're talking about is just basic management of the city infrastructure and the city bureaucracy. And incoming a person like myself who has a business background, who has organizational backgrounds, those are things that I value greatly, and I believe they should be the default, not some special extra.
Do you think it's a consequence of having someone who's been in power for 20+ years?
Well, I do. I think it's important in all organizations to have transition, have new people at the table. You know, even the people that may be pointed out in this audit, and I'm not taking a stab at any of them, they are good, solid people, I believe, and dedicated public servants. But if you have an organization, an institution, or an administration that's been around for a long, long time, I think things tend to get more lax. And I don't think, from a management perspective, that is how it should happen. And in our administration, we'll make sure from the get-go that that's not the way it will work. And so once again, I point out that I have seen some of the findings of the audit, and a lot of them are basic management practices that we need to tighten up as a city and take seriously. And any other questions along those lines? Yeah. Well, if not, I appreciate you all coming out today. We'll be available if you have any other questions along the way. Thanks a lot.